Hello everyone. Yay math. All right. So, we've already done our review for finding midpoints. Now, we're going to look at the midpoint formula. So, the problem is I've got 2 points on a Cartesian plane, xy plane, and I have to find the midpoint of -2 comma 1 right there and 4 comma 5 right there. Show as many ways possible as finding the midpoint. Well, there's several different methods we could do here. We could measure. I could get out a ruler and actually just measure how far over this is. Um, that's one way we could do this. Another thing we could do here is I could use something like what I did on the other side. So in reviewing, remember how I had to find the midpoint between like -2 and 4? If I had to find the midpoint between -2 and 4, I would count how many over it would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that would go exactly, so 6 divided by 2 is 3, and I'd go halfway, right? And if it was 1, 2, 3, 4 here, so that half of 4 is 2, and so I'd go right there. And so that would be the middle of these two. Well, look what happens here. If I connect those, that looks like the middle of this. I know some students will actually make the connection and say, well, can I use slope, Mr. Kuhn? Well, let's see here. Slope would be 1, 2, 3, 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over. So 4 up, 6 over. And then without reducing that, they take half. Half of the top, half of the bottom. They get 2 up and 3 over. So then they count. 1, 2 up, 1, 2, 3 over. That's another way that you can find the midpoint right there. Pretty simple. Another way you can do it, and it's going to be hard right here, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but another way you can do is actually connect, fold your paper. It's hard to do it right here. Fold your paper, hold up to the light, fold your paper so that the 2 dots connect, 2 endpoints connect. Make that one right on top of that one. Make sure the lines connect, and that will go right through the midpoint as well. So there's a couple different methods right there for finding the midpoint. However, we're actually going to use the midpoint formula. Now, this is not the only method. It's perfectly fine to do the other methods I just showed, but the midpoint formula has an added benefit. If any of these numbers are not nice whole numbers, the midpoint formula still works. It's hard to count. I mean, slope works really well if it's just whole numbers, but if it's not whole numbers, this is our preferred method. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So these are my x coordinates. x1, y1, and x2, y2. So to do the midpoint formula, I'm going to add the x coordinates together. -2 plus 4 all over 2. Put a comma in between because a midpoint is still just a point. So we have to have an x coordinate and a y coordinate. Then the y coordinate, y1 plus y2. 1 plus 5 divided by 2. All right, now we have to do what's on top first here. There's imaginary parentheses here. Think of 2 plus 4 is 2 divided by 2. 1 plus 5 is 6 divided by 2. And that'll get us the coordinate of 1 comma 3. And if we look at our graph here, it is 1 comma 3. So that checks out. So what we've done here is we've found the midpoint several different ways, and they all and confirmed our answer. We did it by doing slope. Instead of up 4 over 6, we go up 2 over 3. And that landed us right here. We did the count how far over, then go halfway, how far up and go halfway. And we've also done the average, because the midpoint is just the average of two numbers. So by all means, if it's nice whole numbers, you can use the slope method and just count. But if you get something that's a little bit tougher, like if it were, let's say, negative 2.7 comma 1.63, and let's say the other number was 4.21 and 5.39. And if, let's say you had to find the midpoint of these two numbers, well, that would be a little bit tougher and we probably wouldn't be able to count. So then we would want to use this midpoint formula, where we add the x's and divide by 2, add the y coordinates and divide by 2. Your job now is to answer the remaining 4 questions on here. Got to make sure you type into your calculator correctly. So I want you to try this one. Try to figure out which student did it correctly. Carl Clover or Tara Tiger. Question, doesn't matter which order we put them. Could I do up here, could I do negative 2 plus 4? Instead of doing it that way, what if I did 4 plus negative 2 and then 5 plus 1? Does that change the answer? How is finding a midpoint like an average? And this one's tough. I want to see how you can do this. There's a couple different ways you can do it. There's an easy way and a slightly tougher way, but I want to see what you come up with on this. Thanks for watching. Bye.